Wow. This is a labyrinth of confusion, of lies, of huge missed opportunities here. And by the way, this is the second time I'm making this video because I ran out of battery and the whole freaking the long way was deleted. So I'm gonna try to give you the cliff notes here, right? So let's talk about the facts first, right? Bobby Khalyla have been together for 10 years. Okay. Khalyla gets sick, and they went to the Philippines. She got sick. She has a heart issue. They came back and they were having going to the hospital like 3 times a week, 5 a.m. During this point, Bobby started feeling like a caregiver, and he basically lost attraction for Khalyla, right? So Khalyla felt as she should have, right? She felt ignored, as it's only natural. That's what I mean. So behavior like this, she felt ignored, she felt dismissed, she felt undesired, right? And what's interesting is, right, so this is, I'm just right, I'm gonna the truth that many fans of Bobby Lee have, right, is that, you know, she's younger than him, she's super hot, like he's not, um right. So I also know what's happening here is like people are worried that he's done, right? There's a lot of things to worry about, right? So okay, so these are facts. Another fact is that Brendan Schaub, right, famous comedian, MMA guy, he spread rumors about them, right? Directly, indirectly. He basically said, "Yep, she's a gold digger. She doesn't let." Uh, there was something else. Okay, then his brother was saying, "She doesn't let you do anything. You're stuck in the house. You can never see us." Right. So Bobby clarified, it's not because of her. It's because of COVID. He was terrified of COVID. Okay. Uh, the Brendan Schaub thing turned basically the internet against Khalyla, right? Um, Bobby Lee just has way more fans than her, right? Bobby Lee's 50. He was on like MTV, no, Mad TV, when Mad TV was a thing, like what, 30 years ago, right? And people love Bobby Lee, and people also have seen Bobby Lee fail with women so many times that we were just overjoyed to see him with Khalyla. And when they first started getting together, it's like, is this real? Is this real? Is this real? And they were together 10 years, right? So they became a power couple that we loved. So now let's talk about deceptions. Uh, and these are also factual deceptions, okay? So Khalyla is saying she is not the one who who had the idea of an open relationship. It was all Bobby, and Bobby says this too. However, just because it came out of Bobby's mouth, right, at the 100th step, the question is, where did Bobby get this idea from? What happened the 99 steps before that, right? And the truth is, it's Khalyla. Khalyla has talked about open relationships, poly relationships, so many times on various podcasts. She talked about how monogamy is difficult for her. She's recounted a lot of like sexual stories and how she might have been a sex addict before, right? Um, and then so imagine going from a sex addict to no sex, no attention, right? So for her to say, "Oh, it's all Bobby. I'm innocent. Bobby's the one who wanted an open relationship," right? She's hinted at it for strongly for so long, okay? And it kind of makes sense, like logically, right? Because you know, we're surprised Bobby is even got her in the first place, right? And I'm not dissing Bobby. We love Bobby's amazing. Bobby might be one of the best comedians ever, right? He's nobody can copy Bobby, right? He has his own sense of humor. He's just too funny, and he's also true and he's raw about it, right? Um, so that happened. Okay, cool. So that's one obvious deception. Okay, and then Bobby says talked about how he's never going to uh, be with anyone else ever again. He's going to play video games 20 hours a day. He's going to get fat. And that's that. So, hold on a second. Bobby was flirting with other women when he was with Khalyla, right? This was a big problem. He was caught more than once, and shit really hit the fan when they went to Hawaii. Khalyla planned a trip so they could rekindle, sexual energy, and then she caught Bobby directly flirting with someone, right? So, yeah, right. So that's wrong, right? So in therapy, it's not about blaming one person lied, one person said this, right? It's about both of them taking responsibility, right? And they're not taking responsibility if even after the breakup is done and the stakes are gone, they're not being honest and authentic, which is very annoying because that's what they pride themselves on. And I know they've both revealed so much, so they are honest and authentic, right? Um, Anyways, right? So that's a possible discrepancy with Bobby. So they ended up having an open relationship, and there are so many problems with not open relationships, but how they went about it, right? So we have, so first of all, as a therapist, I have them come to me, right? I'm not going to talk about open relationships at all, right? So the first thing we're talking about, first of all, I'm going to make a success plan for them, right? Session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, right? So this will help them feel prepared when they come into a session, and they know that they're only getting enough homework or enough work in session that they can handle, right? It also lets them know that just because I'm spending time on this now does not mean I'm ignoring this. There's an order and a timeline and a priority, right? And the foundation must be built, right? They obviously didn't build that foundation in therapy, otherwise they wouldn't have jumped to a open relationship just like that, right? So I'll tell you my theory about that is Khalyla, so Khalyla has been cheating and always talking about this open relationship thing. Bobby feels like, okay, now she caught me cheating. We haven't had sex for years, right? I'm guessing like 2 years, something like that. And she's finally tired of it, and her health is better now, and she's gonna leave me. So I don't really have a choice. I made mistakes too, so let's do an open relationship, right? So psychology is, if I don't do this, it's over, right? That is a very unhelpful psychology, a very I want to say like poisonous psychology for an open relationship, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so we'll get back to that. So so these both people are my clients, right? So what's the order of operations, right? So first we're talking about them. Make a list of what they love about each other, right? Why they're still in love, right? So that's very important to know. This is more of a sexual issue, right? But still, make a list of why you're both in love with each other. Talk to me about how you both met, right? I'm having both of them tell this story, okay? Talk about what your strengths are in a relationship and what needs to be improved upon, okay? Talk about the good times that you had sex, right? Try to remember it, right? I would have them like close their eyes, get into all their senses, and make it feel like they're really there and they're back in these sexual opportunities, right? Then I would say, Bobby, at some point you lost attraction for Khalyla. Let's narrow that down. Let's find that moment, right? And it's surprising. It might seem like it's too hard to find, but in my experience, couples find it, right? And because there's one thing in their memory, because when we have emotional uh, epiphanies or changes, right? Any type of emotional charge, it helps the memory so much, and we may even have images, right? So maybe for Bobby, that was her, like maybe cleaning her ass, right? I have no idea. Could be seeing her puke somewhere, right? So we're gonna find that, and we are not going to feel our senses. We don't want to strengthen that memory, right? What we want to do is logically find that moment and then logically get Bobby to see that his losing attraction does not make sense logically, right? It makes sense emotionally, but not logically, right? And this is what they actually want. They want to rekindle their sex life. That's the goal here, right? So I'm doing everything with that goal in mind, and that's the only goal, right? Let's get this couple having good sex, and uh, yeah, basically keep them together, right? Because their problems are not just, oh, I didn't have sex and that's why we're not having sex, that's why we're gonna break up, but all the problems stem from that, right? So I'll explain after I'm done this order of operations, right? Um, okay, cool. So Bobby, logically that doesn't make sense. Okay, great. Now let's go back to the sex, right? So you're already telling me great times you have sex, you feel it, it's like you're there, right? What sexually attracts you about each other, right? What are the things that the other does that gets you going, right? It could be anything in the world, right? Also, physically, what are you attracted to the other, right? Is it her chest, her ass, her face, right? For Bobby, is it his chest or ass or face, right? Whatever it is, right? And let's from now on show it off to each other a little bit more. And I'm saying just a little because their motivation to have sex is not high yet. Like logically it is, but not emotionally, right? Not physically. That arousal is not there, right? So at that point, uh, um, I don't need to be there for this. They can do this separately, but I would say both of you take a second and flaunt it. Flaunt whatever that body part is in front of each other, right? I shouldn't say a second, right? We can put like a 5 minute timer, a 1 minute timer. Ask your partner what they want you to do, right? This is not to each other. This is just to itself. Like, do you want me to turn around? Do you want me to wear this? Uh, do you like it when I behave like this, right? So it's like a small taste test, right? So because I'm baby stepping them back into what they had before because they've been together 10 years, and it seems like these problems started 2 years ago. So 8 years, they had good sex, right? Uh, that's the whole problem, right? Because they had good sex and then they lost it. If they were just having bad sex all this time and they lost it, this whole thing wouldn't be the case, right? Okay, so let's remember the good times of sex, and now let's remember the locations, right? Uh, it could be anything. It could be a car. It could be a bedroom. It could be a hotel room. It could be Thailand, right? It could be someplace. So let's say it's Thailand, right? So I would say now go back to Thailand. Try to get that same hotel, right? And stay there, right? There's zero expectation to have sex. Okay? You're just going there. That's it. Doesn't even have to be long. You can go there for like 2 days or something, right? Whatever you want. But go there, right? Because you want to, all these all these cues, environmental cues, are going to influence you and put you back in that mindset. This is well researched, and it's so amazing that, for example, if you take a seniors and you put them in an environment where it's like, hey, it's the 60s again, uh, the Mickey Mantle's there, if that even was the 60s, like the same sports, the same radios, the same clothing, the structure of how the house is the same, etc., right? The lingo's the same because you're with other people. The experiment has to do with multiple people, right? You can see their brains de-age, right? So environmental cues can dramatically affect how we feel, right? And they can trigger memories. Okay, cool. So that's one thing. I forgot a step before that. Step before that um, is there touch, right? Is there cuddling? There absolutely needs to be some kind of touch, right? So I would say, what's your favorite show? What's a show that you both like, right? Maybe it's, this comes up a lot. It's the Kardashians, or RuPaul Drag Queen for some reason, right? But it could be anything. Find a show and put like let's put a timer, right? So how long is reasonable for you? It has to be minimum 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you guys are going to force to cuddle with each other, right? Cuddle doesn't mean you have to squeeze someone or handle them roughly or feel them up. Uh, it needs to be, excuse me, for example, Bobby having his arm around her and her putting her hand on his, right leg, right? And not the knees, the actual leg, right? So she is motivated to do that, right? It's just Bobby, right? So, okay, cool, right? Then eventually the time comes to talk about open relationship, right? So if they've done all of this, I forgot another thing, right? So in this situation with Brendan Schaub, uh, I can't believe this is real, right? Like this is, I can believe it. I'm just being hyperbolic. Uh, but long story short is they hope that it would just go away, right? It's not gonna go away. That's so naive. You're a very famous internet couple. Like these are like your $1 million businesses. You have people who are like true fans, right? This guy's poisoned the well, right? And as they're saying, he said things that are untrue. She's not a gold digger. It's not her fault. He's not been social. Uh, there were other things Brendan Schaub said. I forgot, but basically, it's like she's the bad one, and he's basically slut shaming her. So one thing to know about Brendan Schaub, right? He's another famous YouTuber, podcaster, MMA comedian guy, right? Uh, he regularly talks in the podcast about how he's flirting with other women around his wife's back, and he's hitting on these women. They don't have an open relationship. They have a monogamous relationship, right? It seems like his wife is just tolerating this, right? So how much can we actually trust Brendan Schaub? First of all, right? But most people, they want the tea, they want the gossip, so they're not going to go that deep, right? Uh, so what they should have done is Khalyla and Bobby on their own show come out and directly speak about this situation. What they're doing, even now, even after the breakup, right? They're not even saying Brendan Schaub's name. They're protecting him, right? So I don't know, them defending Brendan Schaub, right? That's not what the world needs, right? The world needs you to stand up and tell the truth and be yourself brightly, right? I always say, discover who you are, who you want to be, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live, right? It's not just what your vision is, what your lifestyle is. Then we can go to purpose, etc., etc., etc. It's extremely important deep work, right? Every human being on this earth who has their basic needs met should definitely do this. So it's like, what lifestyle do you want to live, right? So I will always recommend the truth, and that is you should be yourself brightly, right? So whatever your personality is, shine bright. And that means you got to be polarizing. So that means some people are going to really dislike you and other people are going to love you. You know, a lot of people are afraid of the social pressure, evolutionary biology. They're worried about the getting kicked out of the tribe and not getting approval for some people. But the thing is, people who think like that, they haven't experienced the love. They haven't found the positive of the tribe, and they're only focusing on the negative. Speaking of only focusing on the negative, right? So this is an issue that Khalyla has because they didn't come out and confront the situation, and they seem to be taking, not all, there's some deception, but a lot of responsibility. Give Brendan responsibility too, right? Uh, Bobby Lee was offered to go on Joe Rogan so many times. Joe Rogan loves Bobby Lee, right? Joe Rogan would create, according to Joe Rogan, he might be one of the best comedians of all time, right? Bobby's hilarious, right? Like there's no one like Bobby. You can't copy Bobby, right? But he has social anxiety, right? So I would help him with social anxiety, so he could go on Joe Rogan and he could say his piece, and it doesn't have to be a big piece. It can be like 1 minute, and we can talk about what he wants to say, right? That would have solved so many problems. So then, I was going to say something else about Khalyla, right? Oh, so Khalyla feels that everyone loves Bobby and everyone's attacking her, right? So, and people are mad at her for that, right? Um, it's if she feels how she feels, right? Maybe if you think she's portraying it with deception, okay, that's fine. I understand that, right? But she can feel how she feels, and she can still bear responsibility for that, right? So she's focusing on the negative. So she has said on her own show that she does not even she's not even motivated to go and tell the truth and give a tell all because he because she feels that people are just going to hear her story and they're just going to twist it, right? So if that's the case, people are just going to twist her story. What's the point? And because she admits they haven't discussed this properly, he is sick and tired of people slut shaming her, calling her a gold digger, saying that she always meant to be an open relationship and to leave Bobby. Okay, so but the problem is her psychology of that is affecting her communication, right? And so what she's doing is they're making it much worse, right? She's making it much worse. So I would definitely advise me or a friend of theirs, or they have so many assistants, right? One of them go to a YouTube video, right? One of them could be her channel, uh, could be the Tiger Belly channel, right, where they both came out and uh, talked about their breakup, right? Uh, Find loving, supportive messages, copy and paste that to a Word document, and send her a PDF or something, right? Um, Now, look, I'm all about non-conventional strategies and brief solution-focused success plans. Okay, so when I say copy and paste the supportive things, this is what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that they should um, that messages about how Bobby is wrong or bad should be included. No, not at all. Right? I'm not saying that messages about how she's right and she's good should be included. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about just a pure, simple, supportive messages, right? So, for example, oh my gosh, Khalyla, I've watched you guys for so long. I love you. I support you. Whatever happens, I just hope that you're happy, right? And etc. etc. You hopefully you did the right thing, and both of you are going to be happier, right? Um, you know what I mean, right? So something that's supportive, right? Hey girl, we're gonna support you in the next area of your life, right? It's very mature that you're still doing Tiger Belly with Bobby, right? There's so many supportive messages that don't involve taking a side, right? So the idea is once she sees these, right? I'm talking about she should have like 30 of these, right? So she can reread this PDF, right? She's now gonna realize, oh, she does have supporters, and she is not alone, and everyone's for Bobby, and the whole world hates her, right? And that's going to help her to communicate and explain things much better, and to motivate her to do that, and also to confront some things about the situation that she's not willing to, right? So maybe the idea was Brendan Shaw, he said what he had to say, and then uh, maybe they were thinking, I don't want to discuss this because it's like a mosquito bite, you scratch it, it's going to get worse and worse, right? So we already talked how that's naive, okay? That's ridiculous, right? Um, Once that she feels like people on her side, though, uh, she would reveal more. And she's also reading the negative comments, which are never recommended. Joe Rogan, whoever, don't read the negative comments. I will read the negative comments because I love to hear people make fun of my hair or my glasses or my nose, or that I'm posting on a cell phone to YouTube, right? Bring it on, right? So she needs to see that there are not haters. Cool. Oh, there's so many dimensions to this. It's hard to do it in priority, right? So uh, they've done all these things sexually. They've done taken all these steps, right? Now we talk about open relationship, right? This is what it seems like to me, okay? And I'm pretty sure of this, and I believe this wholeheartedly because I watched so many videos. I've really observed. I looked at everything, body language, blame, victim blame, responsibility. I looked at everything and I just gave you three synonyms for the same thing. uh, I look at their words. I look at what's emotionally charged. I look at discrepancies, right? So that's where all this information is coming from. Um, so she is, sorry, the open relationship, right? So she has alluded to and spoke about open relationships so many times, on poly relationships, polyamorous too, so many times. Whatever your relationship dynamic is, I support it. I love all relationship dynamics. It's just what works for you, right? Are you monogamous? Are you ethically non practicing ethical non monogamy? Are you polyamorous, right? Are you open, right, etc., etc., right? The thing is, you have to go to it from a healthy stage, and there needs to be authenticity, right? That's why they call it ethical non-monogamy, right? Now, not to say they weren't honest with each other after they decided to be open, because what happened is Bobby wanted to know all about her adventures, and she didn't want to know about his. Okay, fine, cool. Um, it's before that, them deciding to go and have an open relationship when the foundation is so uh, crumbled, the foundation is not solid. They didn't do so many of the things that I already advised for them to do, right? And I should add, we talk about turn offs and turn ons, and we talk about things to spice up sex life that one of them might like, right? So, and we also it's interesting because we talk. I'll make sure that sex is never expected because that's the only way sex might happen, right? That is a secret from the sex therapist playbook, right? That's a whole thing. I can explain that if you want me to, right? Um, so they didn't go through all these steps that I provided A to Z, and it would be more than this, right? I'm dealing with this on paper, right? In real life, there's gonna be bumps. There's gonna be new fights that occur. There's gonna be new situations, etc., etc., etc. Right? So when they had an open relationship, right? Talk about boundaries, etc., etc. One person, okay, one person can know, right? Okay, sorry, I'm talking about the beginning, right? So they're going to an open relationship out of desperation. So Khalyla has also talked about how she's with the guy before, right? And then they get like this new roommate, or it's like the guy's friend or whatever. He's just chilling outside, like in the morning, and then she turns over to the guys and is like, "Hey, do you want to bring him in? I want to have sex with him, right?" And Andrew Schultz is on the best show ever, Flagrant 2, right? He's so shocked by this, and he's right to be shocked because this guy that she was with, there wasn't open or polyamory or anything like that. It was just like, hey, I want to have sex with your friend, right? So, um, so she can be daring sexually, and she herself has said many times how monogamy is difficult for her, right? And I've zero judge. I'm not here to judge anyone, right? I'm just using examples to illustrate uh, how people make decisions that guide their sex life, right? Um, so, uh, yada yada yada, right? Okay, so she does that, right? Um, so I'll tell you something else. An open relationship, right? This is vastly studied, right? Um, what usually happens is the woman will meet another man and she will leave the original partner. Okay? So let's take a quick minute to talk about evolutionary biology and uh, psychology. Okay, so um, we have social and biological imperatives, right? Our biological imperative is that we want to procreate, no, survive and procreate. These are the two things, right? Doesn't matter if you're a gay man or you had a vasectomy, uh, your body has that innate desire to procreate, and it guides you, right? It guides you in so many ways, right? It drastically affects your lifestyle and your motivation, you know. Okay, so I keep getting text messages. Sorry, I'm focused. Come on. Um, what? And so because of that, right? Women pair bond differently than men. So if a men's imperative is to spread as much seeds as possible, uh, that does not require any type of emotional connection. They don't need to stick around. All you're trying to do is get your genes out, right? If we're going to talk strictly paper, where there's no um, cultural and social, leashes or control, right? Uh, it would just be a guy having unlimited sex with unlimited women, uh, who hopefully have good genes and just impregnating everything, right? This is like Genghis Khan, but obviously, he, we don't want to be like Genghis Khan, right? But just biologically, that's what would happen. And so the guy does not need to emotionally pair bond with any of them, right? He sees there, done. Okay. With women, it's very different, right? Women have the miracle of being able to be pregnant and give birth, right? Without women, there's no human race, right? It's done with like Adam and Steve or whatever it is, right? Um, the thing about women though is that because they're vulnerable during this period, there needs to be a man around to protect them. I'm not trying to be misogynist, right? Alternatively, it could be a community of women, it could be a matriarchy, right? But usually it's the guy who planted the seed, right? So women will really test, do I want to have sex with this person? Are they going to be here for me when if I'm pregnant and I'm vulnerable, they're going to protect me. This goes back to times when there was like rampant sexual assault where if you're pregnant, the tribe might leave you behind if you can't keep up, right? You also need to get food for the baby when it's born, right? So after women have sex, they are very likely to have an emotional connection with that new person, right? So most open relationships, especially if they're done like this, jump to missing all these steps, not having a healthy psychology, uh, the woman usually leaves the guy, as I said. Okay, so I strongly believe that what happened is Khalyla caught Bobby uh, talking to another girl, right? Basically trying to cheat with her in Hawaii, and it's not the first time, right? And this is a trip that she planned to help rekindle their sex life, right? So obviously Bobby's wrong, and it hurts a lot. So at some point, she basically had him say, uh, it's like Blue's Clues, right? It's like, hey, A, B, C, D, what do you think the multiple choice is, or whatever it is, right? Although she didn't give choices, right? It's obvious to Bobby that she wanted this. It's obvious to all of us that she wanted this, right? Um, and then Bobby felt like, okay, she's gonna leave me now. She's given me so many chances, she's gonna leave me. So I have to do this, right? And also, Bobby doing that, he should not have made the decision to know all these things if he didn't want to do this in the first place, right? So that was silly, man. That was so silly. As a therapist, oh my God, we're not even close to that, right? I'll also add something major that I would help with as a therapist, right? I would help. So I already talked about how I would help Khalyla to communicate, um, and to her to feel like she's supported, and how I would help Bobby to communicate. So he could go on Joe Rogan, or he could just do it from his own podcast, whatever it is, right? They need to stand up for their relationship and the truth and themselves, right? There's lots of anxiety there. So I need to help Bobby with some of his issues, and they're deep rooted issues, right? So he has a lot of social anxiety. He doesn't want to release a special. He doesn't want to come on Joe Rogan, etc., etc. Right? Uh, if you have social anxiety and you're entering a open relationship, right, it can be possible, but it's already not a good match, right? You need to try to curb your anxiety as much as possible, right? So I would have helped Bobby with that. Bobby is also a recovering alcoholic. So what happens sometimes is he people trade one addiction for another. So Bobby admitted that he would daily watch porn, and I've heard people say that it was like right in front of her, it was loud. I haven't seen any evidence for that. Okay, but Bobby is watching porn, and Khalyla's very aware of this, right? And it hurts her because she's not basically kind of not being touched for like 2 years, right? Understandably, right? Uh, so I think Bobby might have developed porn addiction. Okay, but I don't know how long he was watching it. I think he said like 2 hours a night or something. Uh, you can watch porn 2 hours a night and be healthy, but not if you're doing that to avoid your partner and the love of your life, and you're not dealing with that at all, right? Bobby would talk about how Khalyla would, sit him down and say, "Hey, I want things to go back like they used to be, when we were in love and we had good sex." And so having a personality like Bobby, he's outrageous. He's a comedian. That comes at a price, right? Uh, it could be drug use, alcohol, could be porn. You could be addicted to so many things, right? So I would have a deep discussion with Bobby about this and talk about what constitutes addiction, and I'll help him a lot with this. I help people with porn addiction all the time. There's so many things we could do, right? So also, when if you do have porn addiction, you're not thinking clearly, right? Your mind is just about the porn, and you can watch porn healthy. You definitely can, right? But as we spoke about, it's not healthy if you're ignoring your love of your life. Then you're not touching them, and you're doing it maybe 2 hours every single night. Yeah, every single night you can do that, but I would not really recommend that unless someone has very, very high testosterone levels, uh, which I doubt Bobby has, right? Uh, he doesn't work out. He's not really aggressive, which is fine. It's a part of his charm, right? But there's a problem there, right? I would also talk about the possibility of what would happen if things ended. So, uh, he I help my clients to view the worst case scenario. Okay? I want to ask them, what are we trying to avoid? What's our path? Okay, cool. What's our North Star? Let's focus on that. But let's also know what we don't want, right? Because if we see a little bit of that, we need to know something's wrong, right? That's a marker of going off the path, right? Off the road to success, if you will. So, um, we talk about Bobby. What happened? What would you do if this happened? If you broke up, right? It's very important to talk about that because he might go straight back to the bottle, right? He may his alcohol addiction might resurface, and that could be combined with his porn addiction. So that's not a chance we want to take, right? There's also problems of self harm, death by suicide, right? Or death by slow suicide, like certain addictions and like poisoning your body, right? Um, to excess, I mean, right? So, boy, I say right a lot, don't I? Right? Yeah, I do. So, we would have to talk about that because right now there is a chance Bobby might go back to the bottle, to his addiction. There might be self harm. Oh my gosh. I pray to all the gods, don't let this happen. Uh, Bobby, I hope you see the love that you have, uh, and you don't do that. But you need to fill the time with something, right? So I'm really good at helping people recover from breakups and speeding up that process, right? And holding you accountable, right? So I would talk to Bobby about that and make a plan that if that does happen, we're gonna work on this. I'm not gonna allow him to just shrug things off, right? Like he did with Khalyla. I'm not gonna let him disappear, which he does because he also has social anxiety, right? Uh, like I'm definitely going to help you with this, Bobby, right? These are big dependencies that you have and coping mechanisms that can really end you, right? Like right now, Khalyla is still living with him, which is interesting, which I don't recommend after a breakup. They're sleeping in the same bed, but maybe that's why he's not doing these things. But I hope when she's gone, you know, we love you, Bobby. Please, please, right? Stay on the path of health, right? And plus, you're 50, right? And not in good health or shape, right? But let him eat the junk food. That's fine. Comfort food is fine, right? But put a time limit on that. How long is that? 3 months? 1 month, right? but not other forms. And then we'll find coping mechanisms. Anyways, yada 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 yada. Um, so we talked about when to do the open relationship, what the right psychology is, how there's different attachments. So women will actually say, right, there are studies about this, right, that they prefer their man just has physical sex with someone and that's it. Then if they were to have a strong emotional connection with someone, like a work wife, right? Apologies if I said this because my phones have been running out of storage and battery, etc. And I should be sleeping right now, so I'm kind of high on working my ass off for the last 12 hours. Excuses, Kevin. Excuses. Just letting you know. Um, so what's happening is, so we talked about that. Oh yeah. So this makes a lot of sense, right? Because what's rare for a woman can get laid anytime, right? And it really doesn't matter how good looking you are. You know, that's easy. What's hard is finding someone safe, dependable, who's willing to invest in you long term and protect you, right? May help you to feel protected and calm and protect your children, right? So that's difficult, especially in today's modern dating world, right? So when a man cheats, he'll look at it as, okay, that was if it was good, right? That was a fun side adventure, whatever. I'm gonna forget about it, and I'm gonna go back to my my partner, right? There's so much evidence of this, right? This includes porn couples too, right? But the emotional connection is what's precious, right? So but with women, they'll get attached after sex, and they'll want to develop a new relationship with that person, right? So I think that's what happened. We're not sure. Um, I'm trying to remember. There's something big I forgot to say, guys, and I said it in my last video. So we talked about infidelity. We talked about, or the idea of infidelity, open relationships, talked about taking responsibility, talked about many steps that I would help them to take. We talked about individual challenges for both, communication challenges, perhaps addiction challenges. I'll help them get with more coping mechanisms, right? We talked about how they should confront their problems of trying to run away from it, right? It's like this is exactly what happened where, they're in a room, they're in their bedroom, right? And every day they're changing and they're just throwing the clothes on the floor and say, hey, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. It'll take care of itself. And then your room is a huge mess. And then you feel overwhelmed that you don't want to clean it anymore. So that's what they tried to do with the Brendan Schaub situation. Their anxiety, here's a good quote. When you resist confrontation, you create conflict. That's exactly what happened. This created so much conflict. It didn't have to be this way. It really, really didn't. It breaks my heart to see this. This relationship could have worked out, and there's so much love there. There's also many ways I could help Bobby to basically get more horny. Problem is not him being horny, right? And like I said, I doubt he has high testosterone. Problem is how he's channeling that horniness, right? So let's say someone suddenly became like 5 times more sexual, right? The chance of them being sexually attracted to their partner just went up a lot, right? It went up times 5, right? So that's only one solution. This is a whole Rubik's Cube, right? We have to find other ways to manage, those added feelings and energy, etc., etc. By the way, my name is Kevin Singh. I am a registered social worker and licensed psychotherapist. Specifically, I'm a relationship and sex therapist. And ask me any questions you want. Make fun of me if you want. Like I said, hey, sometimes I go in the mirror and I look at myself and I say, Kevin, you have a big nose. You have scars on your face. You're short. You're ugly. And it's okay. That's okay. So if I can say this to myself, I'm happy to hear it from you. I'll tell you that. But Khalyla shouldn't be reading those comments. Seriously, this is my life passion. I help individuals and couples all the time with their relationships and sex life. And it's such an important part of life, right? And there can be, like anything in life, right? It can be used good or bad. There is a bad side of sex, and there's a toxic relationships, right? So, I've had so many relationship problems in my life. I've had so many sexual problems in my life. I was very motivated to learn, and I'm also someone who's grown up pretty sensitive, right? So even now, I guess sometimes like you're a sensitive person, right? So that can be good sometimes and bad sometimes. But because I was sensitive and these challenges hurt me so much, I was motivated to learn, and now I'm motivated to help others because I don't want you to go through the same thing as me, man. Oh my God, I don't want you to go to 25% of what I went through. When I say men, or when I say dudes, I'm talking all genders. Okay, I'm talking to men, women, etc., etc. Right? Just want you to know. So if you're looking for someone to get help with, someone who's non-judgmental, who's going to give you only as much as you can handle, who's going to make a success plan with you, who's going to focus on practicality and solutions, and who's never going to judge you and just empathize with you and validate you, but also be honest with you, I'm your guy. Also, if you have any questions about anything I said, or you want me to analyze maybe another couple, for example, so the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, yes, that had to end. That should have ended, right? For reasons beyond violence. If you're interested in my take about that, I have a whole longer analysis about that in my other video. And then there's Will Smith and Jada, right? Whew, that's a labyrinth, right? And I'm not even talking about the slap, right? So whether it's them or whether it's another couple, it can be anything having to do with relationship and sex or mental health, right? Ask me, right? You can go on my website, check it out. You can email me, or you can make a comment below, or you can private message me on YouTube, or you can private message me on Instagram. And I'm here for you. I'm new to this YouTube thing because I've been stuck in the library for years. No, I'm just joking. I've been just focusing on other parts, other ways to help people. So, at a point here, I'm new at this. Excuses. God damn it, I forgot my point. The point is, I'm here for you. Talk to me, and I'll make new videos on whatever the heck you want to make. Alright? I don't know how to sign off because I'm new to this. Should I say bye? Should I say toodles? Should I say sayonara? See you later. See you next time. Please like and subscribe. I don't know. What I will say is, I authentically do love you, and I offer you all the love in the world, and I don't want you to have this pain, guys. Right? So, love on, enjoy the beautiful internet, and